Have you ever stopped to think about those truly extraordinary people? The ones who just seem to connect everyone, crossing divides with just pure compassion.
Yeah, it's rare, isn't it? Not about politics, just genuine human connection.
Exactly. And well, speaking of which, on July 5th, 2025, one such figure, Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, most people know her as Amma, or the Hooking Saint, she received a really significant honor.
Ah, the Vivekananda International Peace Award.
Mhm.
That happened in Kerala, didn't it?
That's right, in Kerala, India. So for this deep dive, we want to really get into her unique approach, understand the sheer scale of what she does globally, the meaning behind this award, and I suppose what it means to connect with people on that deep, fundamental level.
And how her work continues to resonate, right? With millions. It's quite a
Right.
story.
It really is. So let's picture the scene for you. It's Friday, July 5th, 2025. Early morning, maybe just filtering light. Around 8:23 a.m. Indian Standard Time at the Amritapuri Ashram Hall in Kerala.
Right, the headquarters of the Mata Amritanandamayi Math. That place is usually buzzing with activity, spiritual stuff, charity work.
Uh-huh. But on this day, you can imagine a different kind of energy. Quieter, maybe more formal, a sense of reverence as people gathered for this award ceremony.
Definitely. And the award itself, the Vivekananda International Peace Award, it's not just any award. It carries a lot of weight.
Because of Swami Vivekananda.
Precisely. It's linked to his ideals, global harmony, service, wisdom. So this award, given by Vivekananda International Relations, was basically saying, we recognize Amma's massive contribution to public welfare internationally.
And who presented it?
Gaga Malhotra and Ravi Kumar Iyer were there. They personally handed over the plaque and the commendation certificate, made it very official.
And Amma's acceptance speech. She had a core message, didn't she? Something about nature.
Yes, very powerful, especially now. She talked about Swami Vivekananda's teachings about Sanatana Dharma's role in peace, but the key line was something like, peace prevails if people consider nature as belonging to everyone.
That really makes you think, doesn't it? Our relationship with nature, seeing it as shared, not just something to use, it's tied directly to peace between people.
It implies a collective responsibility, a kind of shared stewardship being essential for harmony.
Which brings us to maybe the most famous thing about her, that name, the Hugging Saint.
Ah, the hug.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it? A hug. But offering spiritual connection, comfort, through a physical embrace. It's kind of revolutionary in its simplicity, isn't it? Especially today.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Simple, but the scale. It's staggering. The number is something like, what, over 39 million people she's personally hugged?
39 million. It's hard to even picture that.
Try to. I mean, think about the sheer physical and emotional effort over decades. This started when she was just a teenager.
Wow.
And it's become this global thing. People describe the hug as like hitting a reset button for the soul, a moment of just pure, unconditional love.
A reset button. I like that. It's a powerful counterpoint to how disconnected we can sometimes feel, even with all our technology.
Exactly. It highlights how vital that sustained personal human connection still is. Even something brief can be incredibly healing.
And where did this all begin for her? Her background?
Well, she was born back in 1953 in a small fishing village in Kerala. And the stories from her childhood, they paint a picture of this deep, innate compassion from a very young age.
Like sharing her own food.
Yeah, apparently she'd often give away her own meals, even when her family maybe didn't fully understand or approve. It really seems like that empathy was just core to who she was right from the start.
Setting the foundation for everything else.
Absolutely. That early impulse led to establishing the Mata Amritanandamayi Math in 1981. It started small, but it just grew and grew.
And now it's global.
Oh, yeah. Active in over 50 countries. It's this huge international network for both spiritual activities and, crucially, all these charitable projects.
And things like that. Meditation technique. The IAM.
Right, the integrated Amrita meditation technique. That's become incredibly widespread. It's not just for people within the ashram community. I mean, think about this. It's even been taught to India's paramilitary forces.
Seriously. 1.3 million members.
Yep. Which just underscores the breadth of her influence, how practical and applicable some of these teachings are seen to be far beyond just spiritual circles.
Okay, so the hug is this incredibly personal connection, millions of times over. But then you have this massive global organization doing tangible work. How does that connection, that individual act of compassion, translate into funding and running, say, a huge hospital or a clean water project? Is there a direct line?
That's a really important question. And I think the answer is yes, that personal connection is the catalyst. The global community drawn to her message, who feel that connection, they are the ones inspired to support and participate in these massive humanitarian efforts run by the Math. It's like the individual experience fuels the collective action.
So what kind of projects are we talking about?
Oh, it's incredibly diverse. Take food security. They provide something like 10 million free meals every year across India. That's a lifeline for so many.
10 million meals annually. Wow.
And education. They run around 90 Amrita Vidyalayam schools, plus the Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitham University. It's giving thousands, many from really disadvantaged backgrounds, access to quality education. You're literally changing futures there.
Breaking cycles of poverty.
Exactly. Then there's healthcare. The Amrita Institute of Medical Science, it's a major hospital complex offering top-tier care, often completely free. Think complex surgery, specialized treatments, things people just couldn't access otherwise.
That's huge.
And clean water, the Jivamritam project is massive. They launched it with President Ramnath Kovind there, aiming to bring clean drinking water to 10 million people, 1 crore in 5,000 villages.
10 million people. The investment must be enormous.
It is, around 100 crore rupees. It's a fundamental public health initiative on a grand scale.
What else? Is it just the big three: food, education, health?
No, it's much broader. Shelter and support, they run orphanages, like Amrita Nixitan in Kollam, housing 500 kids, many from tribal communities, giving them a safe home, plus safe hostels for women, and disaster relief. They're known for responding really quickly and effectively after natural calamities. The 2004 tsunami is a key example. They didn't just provide immediate aid, they rebuilt entire communities, homes, infrastructure. Real long-term rebuilding.
That shows deep commitment.
It does. And then there are community welfare projects, sponsoring weddings for couples who can't afford it, providing dignity, prisoner welfare programs, even in the U.S. through the MA Center, seed distribution programs to help people grow their own food.
Promoting self-sufficiency, too.
Right. And finally, environmental work, tree planting, big public cleanup drives. It ties directly back to that message about considering nature as belonging to everyone. It's putting the philosophy into practice.
It's an incredible range. When you list it all out like that, it's kind of mind-boggling how one person's vision, that initial compassion, can generate such a vast, diverse network of aid.
It truly is. You think about the individual lives touched, the child getting an education, the family receiving life-saving medical care. The impact is immense.
And clearly, the world has noticed that Vivekananda International Peace Award, while hugely significant, it's one piece of a larger pattern of recognition, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This isn't the first major award by any means. Her work has garnered widespread global acclaim over many years.
What are some of the other big ones?
Well, there's the Gandhi King Award for Nonviolence. That puts her in very esteemed company, connecting her work to the legacies of Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr.
That's significant.
Very. And the James Parks Morton Interfaith Award, recognizing her work building bridges between different faiths, plus recognition from the Parliament of the world's religions. These aren't small accolades. They come from major global bodies focused on peace, interfaith dialogue, and spiritual understanding.
And it's not just institutions giving awards, right? There are some pretty powerful personal endorsements, too.
Yes, from some very well-known figures across different fields. Bill Clinton, for example, specifically praised her organization's work after the 2004 tsunami, called her a remarkable woman.
And Ban Ki-moon, the former UN Secretary General.
He thanked her for supporting the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, said something like, "You have touched the lives of millions," which, given the scale we just discussed, sounds about right.
It does. Any others that stand out?
Jane Goodall, the primatologist, called Amma a role model, highlighting her love for all creatures, which fits with the environmental focus, too.
Right.
And even someone like Paul McCartney. He described her simply as a gift to humanity, talking about her ability to make people feel good inside.
Wow, from a Beatle. That's quite a range. Former presidents, UN leaders, scientists, musicians.
It shows her appeal isn't confined to one group or type of person. It cuts across culture, religion, politics. It seems to tap into something universal.
Okay, so we have this picture of immense good work, global recognition, profound personal connection. But for any deep dive, especially with such a prominent global figure, it's important to aim for, well, a balanced perspective.
Absolutely. It's crucial. No public figure or large organization is without complexity.
So while the vast majority of reports focus on the positive impact, are there other dimensions to be aware of?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's important to acknowledge that alongside the widespread praise, there have been discussions and indeed controversies. Specifically, allegations have surfaced over the years, sometimes mentioned in reports or books,
Concerning.
primarily concerning things like alleged financial irregularities or misappropriation within the organization, and even claims of physical abuses occurring at the ashram.
Okay. And where do those stand?
Well, it's really important to state clearly that these allegations are complex. They've been debated, contested, and remain largely unresolved in public or legal arenas. There's no definitive conclusion widely accepted. But acknowledging that these discussions exist, that these claims have been made, is part of seeing the full picture. It doesn't necessarily negate the good work, but it adds layers of complexity, as often happens with large, influential organizations built around a charismatic figure. It's about recognizing both the profound impact and the difficult questions that sometimes arise.
Acknowledging the complexity without taking a side on unresolved issues.
Precisely. It allows for a more nuanced understanding.
Okay. So bringing it back from the complexities and the vast operations, what's driving all this? What's the core philosophy behind Amma's work and the math's activities?
At its heart, her teaching is deeply rooted in Sanatana Dharma, the ancient traditions of India. The emphasis is really on core values like selflessness, deep compassion, and devotion.
And that idea of seeing the divine everywhere.
Exactly. That's a central theme.
Yeah.
See the divine in all,
Right.
which essentially means recognizing the inherent worth, the spark of the divine, in every single person, every creature, in nature itself.
Which naturally leads to service.
It does. If you see the divine in others, the natural response is to serve them with love. She had a quote that really sums it up. Love is our true essence. Love has no limitations.
Love is our true essence. That's powerful.
It really is the foundation. That idea that love is our fundamental nature, and when we act from that place, the possibilities for helping, for connecting, are boundless.
And that connects back to the environmental message, too.
Absolutely. Her call to protect nature, to see it as belonging to everyone, isn't separate from the call to serve humanity. It's all part of the same interconnected web, grounded in that core philosophy of universal love and recognizing the divine in everything. Peace with nature, peace with each other, it's linked.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's really quite something to reflect on. The sheer scope of Amma's work, underscored by this recent Vivekananda International Peace Award, but going so far beyond it.
From hugging over 39 million people individually.
Yeah, that number, to building this global network, providing essentials like food, education, healthcare, clean water. Her way of connecting seems unique.
It really demonstrates the potential of individual compassion, doesn't it? How one person's dedication, rooted in love, can spark such a massive, widespread change. Even acknowledging the complexities we touched on, the positive impact is undeniable.
A legacy still unfolding.
Definitely.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about as you go about your day. How can that idea that peace prevails if people consider nature as belonging to everyone, and maybe by extension, if we consider each other as truly belonging together, how can that inspire us?
Inspire us to create more harmony, more compassion in our own lives.
Yeah, maybe just one small conscious act at a time. It's a big thought, but perhaps worth pondering. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thank you.